Is this India's most well-rounded T20 attack in their cricketing history?
After India's squad announcement for the Asia Cup, something that was talked about a lot was the batting lineup of the Indian team. But something a lot of people didn't even touch upon was the bowling lineup the selectors had selected. This only goes to show that the right combination of bowlers were picked up, and it almost seems like all of the bases has been covered. Now, before we talk about each bowler and what they bring into the squad, hit that subscribe button.
Starting off, it is impossible to look beyond Jasprit Bumrah. India's fourth highest wicket taker in T20 internationals and also the bowler with the best ever economy rate for India in their T20 history. In the 70 matches that he's played, he's picked up 89 wickets at a very impressive average of 17 and an economy rate of just 6.2. Well, there's not much more we can say about Bumrah that people don't already know, but it's important to understand why Jasprit Bumrah becomes such a vital cog for India in this bowling wheel. First and foremost, he is someone who can bowl with the new ball, and that is something that we will get to in phase-wise numbers. But even beyond that, Bumrah is someone who the captain looks to even get wickets in the middle overs when needed. And it's no secret that he's also done extremely well in the death. He can swing the ball both ways, he can seam it both ways, he's got the slow balls, he's got the cutters, he's also got a really good yorker. All of this makes Jasprit Bumrah the perfect package, and especially in the matches that are going to happen in the Asia Cup in the subcontinent, he becomes all the more important for this Indian team. Something that also stands out for Jasprit Bumrah is how well he does when he has to defend a target. If you look at his second innings numbers, this is the second best economy for an Indian bowler in this phase. Not only that, his numbers go up exponentially when India wins the match. Already he's someone who goes at an economy of just 6 when he's bowling in the second innings, but that number comes down to 5.6 in matches that India have won. In fact, in 28 such matches, he's got 43 wickets to show for his efforts. What you also get with Jasprit Bumrah is a lot of experience. He's played a lot of T20 games over the years, and in fact his numbers are so good that amongst the top 30 wicket takers in the world for T20 cricket, he has the best economy rate for a pacer. In the 217 innings that he's played in T20 cricket, he's picked up 275 wickets. This had a bowling average of 20.7 and a strike rate of 17.8. Along with this, he has an overall economy rate of 6.9 and a dot ball percent of 45.2. Although India might not need to use Jasprit Bumrah much in the power play, his numbers are still really good to look at. In the 206 innings that he's bowled, he's picked up 69 wickets, and he's done this at a really good economy rate of 6.4. What really stands out is how often he's able to create pressure by bowling dot balls. This is because he has a dot ball percent of 57.1 in the power play period. And to further highlight how important Bumrah is for a captain when it comes to needing to break partnerships, he's also done well in the middle overs. In the 150 innings that he's bowled in the middle overs, he's picked up 61 wickets, yet again at a very impressive economy rate of 6.2. In fact, amongst full member nations who play T20 cricket, Bumrah has the best economy rate for someone in the top 10 wicket takers list. Bumrah replicates this feat when it comes to the death overs. Not only is he the 9th highest wicket taker in the world for the death over phase, but he also has the best economy rate once again. Here in just 176 innings, he's picked up 141 wickets, and this once again at a very impressive economy for the death of just 7.5. In fact, we looked at how often Bumrah is getting hit for a boundary in the death overs, and that number is almost 7 deliveries, which means that there is a very likely chance that Bumrah just goes an entire over without giving a single boundary in the death overs of a T20 game. And the last thing, of course, to consider is Jasprit Bumrah's recent form. The only kind of competitive T20 cricket that Bumrah has played in the recent past was the second half of the IPL. Still, he's done extremely well here, and he ended up as the 7th highest wicket taker in the tournament. In just 12 innings, he got 18 wickets once again at a very impressive economy of 6.6. Something that we can see as a trend is that he's continued to have good economy rates not only throughout different phases but also throughout different levels of competition in T20 cricket.
Moving on from Jasprit Bumrah, this is one bowler who hasn't played a lot of cricket recently, and that's Kuldeep Yadav. He is a left-arm Chinaman who can spin the ball both ways, doesn't necessarily need the pitch to assist him because he can beat the batter with flight and pace, something that he's worked on over the years, and a video that we have also made. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. If you look at his numbers while playing for the Indian team, they are pretty impressive. Across 39 games, he's picked up 69 wickets with an economy of 6.7. What is all the more impressive is the fact that he has a dot ball percentage of 43.5. Now, when you look at all of his T20 numbers since his international debut, they still continue to be decent. Across 123 matches, he's picked up 154 wickets with an economy of 7.6. Now, as much as Kuldeep Yadav is a quality bowler, there are a couple of concerns. In the 2024 IPL, economy-wise, he had the worst IPL in his career. In fact, even this year's IPL wasn't all that impressive in terms of wicket taking. In 14 matches, he only took 15 wickets. Now, as much as that might be decent, for a bowler like him, for a wrist bowler that he is, he needs to be more attacking and he needs to be someone taking more wickets regularly. Of course, he still had a decent economy of 7.7, but the Indian team will look to Kuldeep Yadav to take wickets. Now, I emphasize on this because even though it's a completely different format, Kuldeep Yadav bowled 32 overs in the Dilip Trophy against North East Zone, one of the weakest biggest zones in this tournament and picked up 0 wickets, which is a shocker to a lot of people because Kuldeep Yadav, even if he bowls a couple of bad balls in every over, he should be someone who's able to take a couple of wickets at least. But Kuldeep Yadav, when he's in form, will be a perfect combination amongst all the bowlers that we have for the Indian team. With a finger spinner and a mystery spinner, we also have a wrist spinner who can really get the job done.
And from there, the next very promising bowler that we move to is Arshdeep Singh. Arshdeep Singh is the highest wicket taker for India in the T20I format, and it is no secret that he has been at the top of India's pace bowling lineup ever since the time he made his debut. In just 63 innings, this left-arm pacer has picked up 99 wickets, the most for an Indian, and he's done this at an economy rate of 8.2. With Arshdeep, while he might be slightly expensive at some times, something you get with him a lot is that he's able to take wickets not only in the power play but also in the death overs. He's also someone who with the new ball has bowled some promising spells for India throughout his career, and he's also someone who can swing the ball both ways. Despite being relatively young, Arshdeep also already has the experience of playing in big matches as well as big tournaments. He's been a constant for India in the T20 World Cups that have happened so far, and he will also be a constant in this Asia Cup. To further understand the impact of Arshdeep when it comes to taking wickets, we looked at how he's performed not only in power plays but also in the death phase. We looked at this record for all T20s that he has played, and the numbers show how well he's done at taking wickets. Since his international debut, he's been the 7th highest wicket taker when it comes to power plays in T20 cricket. In 113 innings, he's picked up 66 wickets at an economy of 8. Something that's also very interesting with Arshdeep is that he has a really high dot ball percent of 57.8 in these power play overs. But something you also need to see is that he gives a boundary every 4.5 deliveries during the power play. For a bowler like Arshdeep who bowls at least 2 and at times 3 overs during the power play, this can be a little tricky because he is someone who will give a boundary every single over. When we look at the death overs, once again something that stands out is that he's picked up 86 wickets in just 96 innings. However, this comes at some certain expense because he goes at an economy rate of 9.8. However, if Arshdeep is someone who can get you wickets up top and also towards the death of the innings, he is a bowler that you would like to have, especially in the kind of combination that India have with their bowling lineup. And something that's a huge plus with Arshdeep is that he's proved that he can be very consistent across seasons. Even IPL 2025 is a perfect example of just that. In the 16 innings that he played, he got 21 wickets, and he did this at an economy rate of 8.8.
With a left-arm traditional fast bowler, we move on to a right-arm off-spinner who's also a mystery spinner for the Indian team, and that's Varun Chakaravarthy. Varun Chakaravarthy's stint for the Indian team has transformed since 2024 because he's not only the second highest wicket taker for the Indian team, but he's picked up 31 wickets in just 12 games at an economy of 7.5. Now we say transformed because in his first 6 games that he played for the Indian team, he only picked up 2 wickets. So if anything, these numbers show that he's drastically improved his game, not just in the IPL but also in the international stage. In the 18 matches that he's played so far for the Indian team, he's picked up 33 wickets with a very impressive economy of just 7. Varun Chakaravarthy, like a lot of spinners from the Indian team, will be used a lot in the middle phase of a T20 game. In the 118 matches that he's played across all T20 games since his international debut, he's picked up 112 wickets with an impressive economy once again of just 7.3. In this period, he also has a dot ball percentage of just 39.6. With Varun Chakaravarthy, you not only get a finger spinner, a right arm finger spinner at that, but you also get a mystery spinner, someone who can spin the ball both ways using his wrist and his fingers. And his consistency was also shown in this IPL where he played 13 games picking up 17 wickets. Once again with an economy of 7.6. So even if he doesn't get heaps of wickets, he is not someone who gets hit for a lot of runs. So that is something you get with Varun Chakaravarthy.
Apart from this, we also have 2 really good all-rounders in Axar Patel as well as Hardik Pandya. They're extremely good with the bat, but we also know that they're more than just bowlers who can roll over their arm. Firstly, we have Axar Patel. Here's a man who's a finger spinner, keeps it extremely tight and can be used well in the middle overs. He's someone who might not turn the ball as much but balls stump to stump and generally has the batsman questioning their technique. While on the one hand you have the mystery spin of Varun Chakaravarthy and on the other hand you have the wrist spin of Kuldeep Yadav, you have Axar Patel who fits in beautifully as a finger spinner. He's also someone who can bowl with the new ball as we saw in the 2024 T20 World Cup. For India in the 71 innings that he's bowled in, he's picked up 71 wickets at an economy of just 7.3. While he's not someone who's an out and out wicket taker, something you get with him is the fact that he's fairly economical. This to the fact that he does get a few wickets here and there, and most importantly, he's someone who you can float in the batting order, means he's a perfect bowler to have as your third spinner. We also looked at how he's done in T20 cricket overall since his international debut, and he's done fairly well in the power play period. In 109 innings, he's picked up 37 wickets at an economy rate of 7.8. This to go along with 43.3% of dot balls, and given the fact that Axar Patel is going to be bowling in the subcontinent conditions, means he becomes a good option, especially if our pacers are unable to fire. One point of concern, however, is that Axar Patel has been slightly lackluster in the recent past. In the IPL of 2025, he had his worst year in terms of economy rate and his second worst year in terms of the wickets he's taken. In 11 innings, he got just 5 wickets and that too at an economy rate of 8.47. These are numbers that are almost unheard of when you look at Axar Patel. Given his experience in the IPL of 2025, along with the fact that he's had very limited game time, means he is a slightly weaker link coming into the Asia Cup. And lastly, we look at Hardik Pandya. Here's an all-rounder who over the years has improved his bowling and has just gone on to show that experience helps a lot in these situations. He's played 114 games of T20 cricket for India where he's picked up 94 wickets, and he's done this at a very decent economy rate of 8.2. Hardik has evolved his game beyond just being a bowler who can be used in the middle overs. He's someone who can now ball with the new ball, also gets a little bit of swing, but his death bowling is something that has also improved drastically. We looked at how Hardik Pandya has done in T20 cricket when it comes to the power play phase. In the 96 innings where he's balled with the new ball, he's got 23 wickets, and this at a decent economy of 8.9. Something you get with Hardik, especially when he's on song, is that he can build up a lot of pressure. This is also evident in his dot ball percentage of 48.5, which goes on to show that he's almost bowling 3 dot balls every single over. This, especially in the T20 format at the start, is something you might need to build up pressure and get those wickets. But where Hardik really has started to stand out is his death overs bowling. In just 88 innings, he's picked up 67 wickets, and this at an economy of 9.5. Given how the modern game is shaping up and how difficult it is to contain batters, Hardik's experience becomes extremely important to round out this bowling attack. All in all, if you look at this bowling lineup, you seem to have every base covered. You have bowlers who can bowl well in the power play and in the death, and not just pacers at that, but also spinners. Even apart from that, we have every kind of spinner. We have the finger spinners, the mystery spinners, as well as the wrist spinners. Even in the pace bowling department, you have a left arm pacer, you have a right arm pacer, and you also have someone who can consistently come in and ball cutters, and also a sharp bouncer. But even beyond all of this, you still have the added option of someone like a Shivam Dube if nothing else works out. And for all of these reasons, it seems to be a good shout to call this as one of the most well-rounded bowling lineups that we've seen in the recent past from an Indian T20 squad. This has been a video on India's bowling lineup and why it's so well-rounded. If you like this video, definitely drop a like, share this video with your friends, and hit that subscribe button. Also, leave your comments down below on what you think about this specific bowling lineup, if there are any holes that need to be plugged. For more in-depth analysis like this, and for us to go even deeper into certain topics that you'd like to see, definitely subscribe to our membership. Also, hit that hype button so we can push this video out to a lot more people in the algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.